Welcome to the Breadbox, the channel dedicated to Commodore computers. Today we're going to look at the Commodore 2000K that turned up a couple of weeks ago, but I've been too busy to open it because during this lockdown in New Zealand I'm an essential worker and I've just been more busier than ever. Looks like customs have been into this already, and I think I might actually open it from this end, cut through here, because it feels like there's less that might potentially cut through. So let's get cutting. I purchased this Commodore 2000K because I know exactly what it is in this packet from the UK. It was advertised as faulty, not working, so hopefully I can actually get this up and running today, or at least compare it with the 3000H, which is the other Pong console from Commodore that I did in a previous video. These were released about 1976 or 1977, shortly after the acquisition of MOS Technologies by Commodore. Nothing left in there? Okay, great. Before we open up this console, the 2000K, this is part 3 of my Commodore's first console machines series. Part 1 is this one here, which is the Commodore 3000H, which my wife helped me to display. We actually try the games out on that video and also take it apart to really see what makes it tick. And part 2 of this series is the light rifle made by Commodore, or at least marketed by Commodore, with the 2000K and the 3000H consoles. And this video should, in theory, complete my series of Commodore's first console machines, which were Pong machines. In the 1970s, a lot of manufacturers were making Pong machines, and Commodore joined that fray. So most of the packaging here is complete. It's just missing a bit of polystyrene, but I'm just glad to have packaging with this. This is pretty awesome. So on this console machine, you've got 4 games that you can play. You've got soccer or football, tennis, squash, and also target, which you need the light rifle for. And that Commodore light rifle is pretty cool as well, because you can use it as a light rifle or a light pistol. Okay, but let's look at this baby. Okay, it's obviously a UK sort of connection, which is okay. I can change that over, because that still works on about 220 volts, same as New Zealand. And then we've got these additional paddles and 2 connected paddles as well. What I like about these paddles as well, the 2 that are connected to the machine, they just wind up and obviously fold back into the machine, which is quite tidy. And they feel quite good quality as well. And they're a bit like the paddles that used to come with the VIC-20 and the Commodore 64, just there's no fire button. As we can see from the setup, there's 2 controllers that are wired to the console itself, and both the 3000H and the 2000K are 4-player machines. The 3000H though had 4 controllers, but one was built in to the console itself. One was wired and 2 were additionally connected to the machine. The Commodore 2000K is quite a smart looking machine, and we'll just have a look at the back of it to see if it's battery powered as well, and yes, sure enough, it is. It would hold 6 AA batteries or 9 volts to make this run, which makes this machine, like the 3000H, a very portable machine. All you need is a TV to plug it into. Now we'll have a look at these controls for the Commodore 2000K. From left to right, we have the on-off switch, then we have the number of players options. You can either have 2 players or 4 players. Then you have the auto serve option, and below that you have the reset button. Then we have the game selector switch between the tennis, soccer, squash and target. And then you have the handicap switches. We can make the left side or the right side either expert or amateur. And below that you got the serve button. And next to the serve button you have the paddle plug as well, one on each side of the console. And also you might have noticed that just like the 3000H, the Commodore 2000K has all those instructions in both English and in German. The paddles themselves definitely feel a lot better built than the 3000H paddles. The 3000H paddles were sliders, but obviously we've got these turning knobs just like the VIC-20 and the Commodore 64 paddles that would come later on. And it makes you wonder if these were the inspiration for the later on paddles that Commodore produced. Makes you wonder, eh? Let's have a look inside the Commodore 2000K. There's 4 screws keeping this machine together, and that's the screw. This screw is very, very tight. I might just try a different screw. Man, these things are tight as. I'm guessing I'm probably the first person since the 1970s that have actually opened this, or maybe it's never been opened before ever. And these are the original screws that Commodore put in 1970s. And either way, I'm just happy to be here, just happy to have this machine. And it's a nice little addition to the Breadbox Commodore Computer Museum, which I plan to open up here in New Zealand. And hopefully I can get the documentary, The History of Commodore Computers in New Zealand, finished as well. I had to put that on hold for a bit because of my head injury. My thinking ability is not that great, and it takes me a long time to work things out, so hopefully I can get that up and running very soon as well. But until then, I don't mind making small videos just to keep my brain working, and also hopefully sharing some Commodore things with you as well. And thank you very much for watching as well. Hope I don't bore you too much for my videos, and I do really appreciate your support. I really appreciate my subscribers, every single viewer. I do. Oh, I'm back to this really annoying screw. I've actually finally got it. Hey, I was going to say thank you very much everyone for your support. I do appreciate it. And here's that annoying little screw that took all the effort. Okay, let's get it opened up. Wow, okay, there you go. That's what it looks like in the 2000K. It's interesting how the paddle cables are all wound up there inside the machine. Obviously we knew that from the outside, but it just looks weird from this end. And it has the built-in speaker like the 3000H. And behind here we should have the MOS 7601, I believe. Just lost my first screw inside this machine. Okay, we'll get back to that in a minute. So there's 4 screws here I need to undo. And then we'll have a look at the brains of the operation, this MOS 7601 chip. I think the NTSC version was MOS 7600. Don't quote me on that though. And did you own one of these in the past, like in the 1970s, 1980s? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to know. Alright, this should be the last screw, so we should be able to get this opened. Okay, just need to... Okay, now something else is holding... Okay, there's a 5th screw, so I need to get rid of that one too. Sorry about that. It actually blended in with all the solder. I didn't even notice it. Even after removing those screws, I can't get it open because I realized I need to pop off the knob for the game selector. That's actually holding everything together. So I just need to carefully pry this off. I've got this screwdriver I accidentally bent with a project of mine around the house, but it turns out to be quite handy for prying things, so which is good. Alright, now that's off. I should be able to pull this circuit board over. Okay, so it turns out there's also, I'm just learning as I go of course, this cable, which is I think an RF cable, or someone might be able to correct me. Anyway, that's stopping me from being able to turn this over, so I'll resolder that back on afterwards. So now I should be able to turn this over, and sure enough, there we go. Well, there you go. There's the brains of the operation. That's everything's involved in making the Commodore 2000K tick. And you can see the chip there is a MOS Technologies 7601 chip. Well, obviously there's not much information out there about this chip, but what I did find from computinghistory.org.uk that this chip was primitively able to be programmed as well. It was a programmable chip, and it was pretty much a foretaste of things to come from MOS Technologies. Alrighty then, as I put on the game selector knob, I must admit I had to resolder that cable that I took off or cut, but I realized that I don't actually have any solder, and because we're in lockdown I can't buy any solder, so I just tried to melt the existing solder, but it was so rock hard it couldn't actually melt it, so I couldn't reconnect that cable. And because I have no idea what that cable was for, I don't want to try it out until I actually connect it back up again. So if you do want to check out the games for this machine, they're the exact same games as the Commodore 3000H. And in my previous video, my wife and I actually try out the games because they were 2-player games. So if you want to check out the games, check out that video straight after this video. Alright, so these are all the parts to the Commodore console series that I've just done. Nice little collection, nice little additions to the Commodore Computer Museum. Hey, thanks for watching, really appreciate it. And don't forget, while you're on lockdown, check out my other videos. Hopefully they don't bore you to death. And remember, I'm no expert on Commodore computers. I'm just a lover of Commodore computers, just like you. Keep safe, be kind, and I'll see you next time. See you guys.